For every darts pro loved by fans, there's another who is hated. Some win hearts with humility, others lose the crowd with every glare, every celebration, every word they say. This is the sharp divide in darts, from icons to villains, and today we're breaking down the most loved and most hated players in the sport. Fallon Sherrock didn't just make history, she changed the sport forever. Before 2019, most casual darts fans couldn't name a single female player. But all that changed the moment Fallon stepped up to the oche at Alexandra Palace and took down Ted Yvetz in the first round of the PDC World Championship.
Game, shot! And Fallon Sherrock smashes the glass ceiling and wins at the World Darts Championship. The first woman to beat a man at the World Darts Championship.
The crowd went wild, commentators were stunned, and then she did it again, defeating world number 11 Mensur Suljovic in the next round. It wasn't a fluke, it was a statement, and it earned her a nickname that would follow her forever, the Queen of the Palace. What made fans love her was the way she handled the pressure. A single mum from Milton Keynes, Fallon wasn't supposed to win. She was the underdog, the wild card, but she stayed calm, graceful, laser-focused. She didn't roar or punch the air, she smiled, stepped forward and played her game. That humility won fans over instantly. Social media exploded, TV interviews, talk shows, even people who didn't follow darts knew her name. But with the fame came pressure, and eventually a little pushback. Some questioned whether she deserved wildcard entries into future tournaments. Others felt the attention she got overshadowed more established players. But despite that noise, her fanbase never wavered. Her Grand Slam of darts performance proved she could still hang with the elite. And even when she loses, crowds still chant her name. For many fans, Fallon represents possibility. She shattered expectations, broke barriers, and inspired a generation of young girls to pick up a dart. She isn't just a player, she's a symbol. And to millions of darts fans, she's a legend already in the making. Gerwyn Price didn't ease his way into darts, he barged in. A former rugby player turned darts pro, Price brought something that not everyone was ready for: raw aggression. He didn't just celebrate after big shots, he roared, fist pumps, shouts, stares, and while some fans admired the intensity, others saw it as disrespect. At first he was just loud, then came the controversy. In 2018, Price faced Gary Anderson in the Grand Slam final, and it exploded. The match turned hostile. There were bumps, words exchanged, visible tension between throws. Anderson accused Price of over-celebrating and gamesmanship. The crowd turned instantly. Boos echoed with every dart Price threw, and they haven't stopped since. That final earned him a record fine, which was later reduced on appeal, but the damage was done. Gerwyn Price wasn't just disliked, he was now the pantomime villain of darts. He's since leaned into that role, and it's only amplified the division. At the World Championship in 2023, he wore ear defenders on stage to block out the crowd. It backfired. He lost the match and was mocked endlessly online. Some fans called it childish, others said it was understandable, but almost everyone had an opinion. And that's the thing with Gerwyn Price. You either love the fire or you hate the flames. To his credit, his skill is undeniable. A former world champion, one of the most consistent players in the game. But for many fans, it's not about averages or trophies, it's about attitude. And with Gerwyn Price, every walk-on feels like it could start a fight. Wayne Mardle never won a world title, but he still became one of the most beloved figures in darts. During his playing days, he wasn't known for dominance, he was known for entertainment. With his signature Hawaiian shirts, energetic walk-ons, and infectious personality, Mardle turned every match into a party. He wasn't trying to intimidate, he was trying to enjoy it and make sure everyone else did too. Fans loved him for it. He danced to the oche, smiled through the pressure, throw with flair, even when he was behind. He reached 5 PDC World Championship semi-finals, but it was never just about results. It was the way he played the game, with heart, humour and human vulnerability. But if Mardle was loved as a player, he's become iconic as a commentator. Since stepping behind the mic for Sky Sports, he's brought that same passion and energy into every broadcast. And in 2023, he gave fans one of the most unforgettable moments in darts commentary history. When Michael Smith hit a 9-darter during one of the greatest legs ever played, Mardle lost control.
Come on, Spolly boy! Yes, double 12! That is the most amazing leg
His voice cracked, his eyes welled up. And in that moment, every fan at home felt the same thing. That one line became a viral sensation, but it wasn't a performance. It was pure, unfiltered love for the sport. Wayne Mardle is one of the few figures in darts who's universally liked. He's emotional, honest, and always puts the fans first. Whether he's on the stage or behind the mic, he reminds everyone why they fell in love with the game in the first place. Peter Manley didn't earn boos by accident, he earned them on purpose. In the early 2000s, Manley became the original villain of darts, long before walk-on music and fancy lights turned players into entertainers. He wasn't just competitive, he was calculating, antagonistic, a master of mind games who knew exactly how to get under people's skin, and no moment defined him more than the 2002 World Championship final. After losing to Phil Taylor, again, Manley refused to shake his hand, live on TV, on the biggest stage in darts. It was a gesture that sent shockwaves through the sport. Fans were stunned, commentators were furious, and from that point on, the boos never stopped. But Manley didn't hide from it, he embraced it. He styled himself as a heel, a kind of darts anti-hero. He smirked when crowds jeered. He wound up opponents mid-match. Some fans respected the gamesmanship, most didn't. He earned the nickname One Dart, not just for his double-hitting precision, but for how often he'd stir tension with just a single glance. Even his peers weren't always fans. There were quiet mutterings about stalling tactics, mind games, and how difficult he could be on stage. But here's the thing, love him or hate him, people reacted. He made darts more dramatic, more heated, more human. Peter Manley wasn't there to make friends, he was there to win, to rattle, to disrupt. And for a generation of darts fans, he became the man they loved to hate, and the player who taught them what a proper villain looked like. Michael Smith didn't have it easy. He wasn't an overnight sensation. He was the guy who got close, again and again and again. Before he lifted the World Championship trophy in 2023, Smith had lost in 8 major finals, each one more painful than the last. And every time, he walked off the stage with class. No excuses, no drama, just a handshake and a look that said, "I'll be back." That's why fans love him. Smith became a symbol of resilience. He didn't whine, he didn't blame bad luck. He kept grinding, kept believing. And when he finally won, beating Michael van Gerwen in one of the greatest legs in darts history, the darts world exploded. The 9-darter, it was a moment where Smith delivered on years of promise, with the whole world watching.
Is this it? He was born to be a world champion, and he has filled his darting destiny. Michael Smith has fulfilled his dreams.
But it's more than just the darts. Smith is grounded, a devoted family man, proud of his wife and kids. He talks openly about pressure, about self-doubt, about being his own worst critic. It makes him real, someone fans can relate to. He's the kind of guy who shows respect on stage, laughs at himself in interviews, and signs autographs until the lights go out. Even his rivals root for him, because when Michael Smith wins, it feels like the good guy finally came out on top. He might be called Bully Boy, but to darts fans, he's one of the sport's true gentlemen. At his peak, Paul Nicholson wasn't just trying to win matches, he was trying to rattle cages. Known as the Ascent, Nicholson burst onto the scene in the late 2000s with a style that was bold, brash, and unapologetically confrontational. Spiky hair, sharp suits, cold stares. He strutted to the oche like a man on a mission, not just to beat his opponent, but to make sure they knew they'd been beaten. And in 2010, he got his moment. He stunned the darts world by winning the Players' Championship finals, taking out Phil Taylor along the way.
He's missed 2, a double top.
40.
It's your greatest hour. 2 at 10s. 1 at 5s. Extraordinary! Exceptional! Emotional! Power cuts!
But it wasn't just the victory that got people talking, it was the attitude, trash talk, glares. Nicholson carried himself like darts' answer to a wrestling villain, and fans didn't hold back. Crowds booed, comment sections blew up. Forum threads were flooded with debate. Was he good for the game, or was he dragging it down? He once said, "I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to win a darts tournament." And that summed it up perfectly. To some, he was a breath of fresh air. Finally, a bit of swagger in a sport filled with quiet, unassuming characters. But to many others, he came off arrogant, disrespectful, and hard to cheer for. Over time, results dried up and the persona faded. Nicholson eventually moved into commentary, where he's become more respected and measured. But during his peak, there was no middle ground. You either liked the drama, or you couldn't wait to see him lose. In a sport full of big personalities, loud walk-ons, and emotional outbursts, Johnny Clayton stands out by doing none of that. He doesn't shout, he doesn't throw tantrums, he just smiles, steps up, and delivers. Nicknamed the Ferret, Clayton has quietly become one of the most respected and well-liked players on the circuit. And it's not just because of his darts, though he's won a Premier League title, the World Cup of Darts, and multiple majors. It's because of the way he carries himself. Whether he's winning or losing, Clayton stays composed. No mind games, no drama. He always shakes hands, always shows respect. And the fans have noticed, he gets cheered in every arena, even when he's playing against hometown favourites. There's no tribalism when Clayton's on stage, just appreciation. He's a part-time plasterer from Wales who never let fame change him. Even at the top of the game, he's stayed grounded, still working, still humble, still smiling like a man who just loves the sport. Players speak highly of him too. Ask around the tour and you'll hear the same thing. He's just a good bloke. He's the kind of player who could beat your hero and still earn your applause. Clayton doesn't demand attention. He earns admiration, quietly, consistently, and completely. Ted Hankey wasn't just disliked, he was booed almost every time he stepped on stage. And unlike some players who won the crowd over with time, Hankey only seemed to drift further into villain territory. Nicknamed the Count, Hankey leaned into a dark, gothic persona, long black cloak, slow walk-ons, and a death stare that could freeze a room. But his issues with the crowd went far beyond theatrics. Hankey had a reputation for being irritable, argumentative, and prone to complete meltdowns during matches. He would stop mid-leg to glare at hecklers, throw up his arms, or mutter complaints under his breath. In one infamous match at Lakeside, he accused fans of deliberately blowing whistles to put him off. He was so rattled, he threw darts while visibly shaking with frustration. And then there was his pace, slow, deliberate, agonizing at times. It drove opponents and fans mad. But the boos didn't just come from his behavior on stage. In later years, Hankey's reputation took a much darker turn.
Former world darts champion Ted Hankey has been jailed for 2 years for a sexual assault caught on camera.
In 2022, he was convicted of sexual assault after CCTV footage showed him attacking a woman in her own home. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison, and any goodwill that may have remained evaporated instantly. For many fans, Hankey went from a moody, frustrating character to someone they couldn't even tolerate seeing on a stage. His fall from grace wasn't dramatic. It was absolute. He might have been a world champion, but to most darts fans today, Ted Hankey's legacy is one of wasted talent, self-destruction, and disgrace. In just a matter of months, Luke, the Nuke Littler, has gone from a teenager with potential to the most talked about name in darts. At 16, he stunned the world by reaching the PDC World Championship final in his debut appearance, taking out seasoned pros with ice-cold finishing and fearless scoring power. No nerves, no excuses, just darts of the highest level. But fans didn't just fall in love with his game, they fell in love with his attitude. Calm under pressure, honest in interviews, funny, sharp, and completely unfiltered. He walked into a media circus and handled it like a seasoned pro. Crowds chant his name everywhere he plays, not just in the UK, across Europe, in Premier League nights, and even online. His following on social media exploded. Clips of his celebrations, his gaming habits, and his walk-ons now rack up millions of views. And speaking of gaming, that's part of the charm. This is a kid who spends his downtime playing FIFA, eating kebabs, and joking around on TikTok. He's not trying to act like a superstar, he's just being himself, and fans love that. Older darts fans admire his raw talent. Younger fans see themselves in him. And players? They're taking him very seriously. Even when he loses, he takes it on the chin. No drama, no excuses, just a shrug, a smile, and a warning that he'll be back. Luke Littler isn't just the future of darts, he's the present. And right now, he might be the most universally loved player on the planet. In darts, it doesn't take long for fans to decide how they feel about you. What makes a player loved or hated isn't just about trophies, it's about how they carry themselves under pressure. So now it's your turn. Who's your most loved and most hated darts player of all time? Drop their names in the comments below and let us know why. And if you want to see how we got here in the first place, the rise of televised darts, the pub to global phenomenon, and the legends that built the game, click here to watch our video on the full history of darts, from smoky rooms to sold out arenas.